Admiral Park Hyun sat in his command chair aboard the battleship Thunder. The ship floated in space near Earth's moon. For 3 days, no messages had come from New Busan colony. This was very strange. New Busan always sent daily reports. The colony was home to 2.5 million humans. They grew food and mined metals on a planet far from Earth. The people there were farmers, miners, and their families. Children played in the streets. Parents worked hard to build a new life. Park Hyun had gray hair and tired eyes. He had served in the space fleet for 30 years. He had seen many things, but he had never lost contact with a whole colony before. "Sir, we still have no word from New Busan," said Captain Lee Nari. She was young with short black hair. Her uniform was clean and pressed. She had been trying to contact the colony for hours. "Send a scout ship," Park Hyun ordered. "I want to know what happened." The scout ship Fast Wind jumped through space. It took 2 days to reach New Busan. When it arrived, the pilot sent back pictures that made everyone sick. The colony was gone, not just damaged, completely destroyed. Where cities once stood, there was only glass. The ground looked like someone had melted it with giant flames. Nothing moved. No people. No animals. Not even insects. Captain Lee Nari stared at the pictures on her screen. Her hands shook. "Sir, there are no life signs at all. Everything is dead." Park Hyun stood up slowly. He had seen war before. He had seen planets bombed and cities burned. But this was different. This was not war. This was something much worse. Dr. Kim Tae was the ship's science officer. He was a thin man who wore thick glasses. He studied the pictures carefully. "Admiral, these burn patterns are very strange. The attackers did not just bomb the cities. They hunted down every living thing." The doctor pointed to different parts of the pictures. "Look here. This was a school. The attackers made sure to destroy it completely. Here was a hospital, also destroyed. Even the farms were poisoned. The water was made deadly." Lee Nari felt sick. "They killed the children too." "Everyone," Dr. Kim Tae said quietly. "They wanted to make sure no human survived." Park Hyun walked to the big window of his ship. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien beings had murdered millions of innocent people. They had killed families while they slept. They had destroyed a whole world just because humans lived there. "What kind of weapons did this?" Park Hyun asked. Dr. Kim Tae checked his computer. "The energy readings are very high, much higher than anything we have seen before. The attackers have technology that is better than ours." "Do we know who did this?" "The weapon signatures match no known species in our database, but I am finding pieces of metal that do not belong to human ships. Someone was here, someone with very advanced weapons." Park Hyun closed his eyes. In his mind, he could see the colony as it used to be. Children running through parks, families eating dinner together, workers coming home tired but happy. Now it was all gone, turned to ash and glass. "How long did the attack take?" he asked. Dr. Kim Tae looked at the damage patterns. "Based on the burn marks, I think it was very fast, maybe a few hours. The colonists probably did not even know what was happening." Captain Lee Nari wiped tears from her eyes. "At least they did not suffer long." "No," Park Hyun said. His voice was hard like stone. "But someone will suffer for this. I promise that." The admiral called all his officers to the meeting room. The room was small with a big table in the middle. Maps of space covered the walls. 20 officers sat around the table. Their faces were angry and sad. "We have lost New Busan Colony," Park Hyun said. "Every person is dead. Every building is destroyed. This was not an accident. This was murder." The officers began talking at once. Some were angry. Some were scared. Some wanted to know who had done this terrible thing. "Sir, what are our orders?" asked Commander Bae-wan. He was a big man with scars on his face from an old battle. "First, we must find out who did this. Second, we must make sure they never do it again." Dr. Kim Tae stood up. "Admiral, I have been studying the metal pieces we found. They contain elements that are very rare. Only a few alien species use these metals." "Which species?" "The Kethral hegemony uses these metals in their ships. But, sir, the Kethral have never attacked humans before. They have always stayed away from us." Park Hyun thought about this. The Kethral were known to be very advanced. They had faster ships and better weapons than most species. But they had never seemed interested in human space. Maybe they decided we were a threat, suggested Captain Lee Nari, or maybe they decided we were easy targets. Park Hyun replied. Commander Bae-wan hit the table with his fist. "We should attack them now, before they hit another colony." "With what?" Dr. Kim Tae asked. "Their technology is much better than ours. Our weapons might not even hurt their ships." The room became quiet. Everyone knew the doctor was right. The human fleet was strong, but not strong enough to fight the Kethral. If they tried to attack now, they would probably lose. Park Hyun stood up. "We are going back to Earth. The government needs to know what happened here. They need to decide what to do next." "Sir, what if the Kethral attack another colony while we are gone?" Lee Nari asked. "Then we will make them pay for that too." "But right now we need help. We need more ships and better weapons." The journey back to Earth took 5 days. During those days, Park Hyun did not sleep well. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the pictures from New Busan. He saw the melted cities and the poisoned farms. He saw the place where children had played, now turned to glass. On the last day of the journey, Dr. Kim Tae came to see him. The doctor looked very tired. He had been working without sleep, trying to understand the alien weapons. "Admiral, I have found something important," the doctor said. "The attack on New Busan was not random. The Kethral chose their targets very carefully." "What do you mean?" "They destroyed the places where people lived first. Then they destroyed the places where people worked. Last, they destroyed the places where children learned and played. They wanted to cause as much pain as possible." Park Hyun felt cold anger growing in his chest. "They enjoyed it." "I think so, yes. This was not just about killing humans. This was about making humans suffer." When the ship reached Earth, Park Hyun sent his report to the government. He told them about the destroyed colony. He told them about the dead families. He told them about the aliens who seemed to enjoy causing pain. The government's answer came back quickly. A meeting would be held. All the top military leaders would come together. They would decide how to respond to this attack. Park Hyun knew that this meeting would change everything. The age of peace was over. The aliens had made sure of that when they decided to murder innocent humans. He looked out at Earth, spinning slowly in space. It looked peaceful and beautiful. But Park Hyun knew that peace was fragile. Evil beings were out there in the darkness, ready to destroy everything good. "They made a mistake," he said to himself. "They think humans are weak because we love peace. They will learn how wrong they are." The war room was deep under the ground on Earth. It was a big room with no windows. Bright lights hung from the ceiling. In the center stood a huge table made of dark metal. Around the table sat the most powerful people in human space. Fleet Admiral. Choi Min was the head of all human military forces. He was an old man with white hair and sharp eyes. He had fought in 3 wars and won them all. Today, his face looked like carved stone. General Yoon Hai commanded all ground troops. She was a woman with short gray hair and strong hands. She had led soldiers into battle on 12 different worlds. She never lost a fight. Admiral Song Jun controlled the space fleets. He was younger than the others, but very smart. His ships were always ready for battle. His crews trusted him completely. Intelligence Director Han Sol knew secrets from across the galaxy. She was quiet and careful. She listened more than she talked. Her spies brought her information from everywhere. Commander Bae Wan sat next to Admiral Park Hyun. His job was to study alien weapons and find ways to fight them. He had thick arms and old scars on his face. He understood war better than anyone. In the middle of the table, a machine showed pictures in the air. The pictures were from New Busan Colony. Everyone could see the burned cities and melted ground. The pictures changed slowly, showing the destruction from different angles. 2.3 million people, Admiral Choi Min said. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard him. Men, women, children, babies, all dead. The room was silent. Some of the officers looked angry. Others looked sad. All of them looked determined. General Yoon Hai spoke first. "Do we know for certain who did this?" Commander Bae Wan stood up. He was holding a small piece of metal. "This came from the attack site. Our scientists studied it carefully. The metal contains rare elements that only one species uses in their ships." "The Kethral," Admiral Song Jun said. "Yes, the Kethral hegemony. We found pieces of their weapons all over New Busan." Intelligence Director Han Sol opened a file on her computer. "The Kethral have never attacked humans before. They live far from our space. We have had almost no contact with them." "Then why did they attack us now?" General Yoon Hai asked. Han Sol looked at more files. "My spies have been asking questions. The Kethral have been attacking other species too. Small colonies. Weak planets, they seem to enjoy destroying helpless people." Admiral Choi Min hit the table with his hand. "They think we are helpless too." "Sir, their technology is much better than ours," Commander Bae Wan said. "Their ships are faster. Their weapons are stronger. Their shields can stop most of our attacks." "Most, but not all?" Admiral Song Jun asked. "Not all. We have some weapons that might work, but we would need many more ships and much better planning." Admiral Choi Min stood up and walked around the table. He stopped behind each officer and looked at them carefully. These were his best people. If anyone could win this war, it would be them. "The Kethral made one big mistake," he said. "They think humans are like other species. They think if you hurt us enough, we will give up and hide." General Yoon Hai smiled. It was not a happy smile. "They do not understand humans very well. No, they do not. When someone hurts our family, we do not hide. We do not run away. We fight back, and we keep fighting until the threat is gone forever." Intelligence Director Han Sol pulled up more information. "The Kethral have about 5,000 ships in their main fleet. They control 23 star systems. Their home world has 3 billion people." "How many ships do we have?" Admiral Song Jun asked. "Right now, about 2,000 ships that are ready for war. Maybe another 1,000 that could be made ready quickly." Commander Bae Wan shook his head. "That is not enough. Their ships are too strong. We would lose." Then we build more ships, Admiral Choi Min said simply. Sir, that would take years, maybe 10 years or more. No, it will take 1 year, maybe 2 at most. Everyone stared at him. Building that many ships usually took much longer. General Yoon Hai understood first. You want to turn our whole civilization into a war machine? Yes. Every shipyard will build warships. Every factory will make weapons. Every person will help with the war effort. The people might not agree to that, Han Sol said carefully. Admiral Choi Min pointed at the pictures of New Busan. Show them these pictures. Tell them about the dead children. Ask them if they want this to happen to their families. The room was quiet for a moment. Everyone knew that humans would be very angry when they learned about New Busan. Angry people would be willing to work very hard to get revenge. Admiral Song Jun asked the important question. What exactly are you proposing, sir? Total war. We build the biggest fleet in human history. We design new weapons that can break through their shields. We train soldiers who can fight on their worlds. Then we go to Kethral space, and we destroy them completely. All of them, General Yoon Hai asked. All of their military, all of their weapons, all of their ability to hurt innocent people ever again. Commander Bei Wan looked worried. Sir, the other alien species will not like this. They might join together to stop us. Intelligence Director Han Sol checked her files again. Actually, many species are afraid of the Kethral too. The Kethral have been attacking weak colonies for a long time. Other species might be happy to see them stopped. Or they might be afraid that humans are becoming too dangerous, Admiral Song Jun pointed out. Admiral Choi Min walked back to his chair. Let them be afraid. Fear will keep them from attacking us. After we defeat the Kethral, everyone will know that humans protect innocent people. They will also know that humans punish those who hurt innocent people. General Yoon Hai stood up. I agree with this plan. The Kethral chose to start this war when they murdered our people. Now we will finish it. Admiral Song Jun nodded. My fleets are ready. Tell me what ships you want built, and I will make sure they are built well. Commander Bei Wan looked at the pictures of New Busan one more time. I will design weapons that can crack their shields and burn their ships. The Kethral will learn to fear human weapons. Intelligence Director Han Sol closed her files. My spies will watch the Kethral. We will know where their ships are and when they plan to attack. They will have no secrets from us. Admiral Choi Min sat down and looked at each officer. This will be the largest war in human history. It will cost us much money and many lives. Are you all certain this is what we should do? Yes, said General Yoon Hai. Yes, said Admiral Song Jun. Yes, said Commander Bei Wan. Yes, said Intelligence Director Han Sol. Admiral Park Hyun spoke last. The families on New Busan cannot speak for themselves anymore, so we will speak for them. We will make sure their deaths have meaning. Admiral Choi Min pressed a button on the table. A message went out to every human world. The message was simple and clear. The Kethral hegemony has destroyed New Busan colony. Every human there is dead. This was an act of pure evil. Humanity will respond with justice. All colonies must prepare for war. All shipyards must begin building warships. All factories must begin making weapons. We will not let this evil go unpunished. Within hours, messages came back from every human world. The messages all said the same thing. We are ready to fight. Tell us what you need. The age of peace was over. The age of retribution had begun. All across human space, the sound of hammers filled the air. Day and night, workers built ships for war. The peaceful shipyards that once made cargo ships and passenger liners now built only warships. The change happened faster than anyone thought possible. Master Engineer O'Dal stood in the biggest shipyard near Earth. She was a small woman with strong hands and grease under her fingernails. For 20 years, she had built ships that carried families to new worlds. Now she built ships that would carry death to the enemies of humanity. "Show me the plans for the new dreadnoughts," she said to her assistant. The plans appeared on a big screen. The ship was huge, bigger than anything humans had ever built before. It was covered with weapons and thick armor. This was not a ship for exploration or trade. This was a ship for destroying other ships. "How many guns does it have?" O'Dal asked. 120 main cannons, 300 smaller guns, 50 missile tubes, enough firepower to destroy a small moon. O'Dal nodded. "Good, but not good enough. Add more missiles, add more armor. These ships need to be able to fight 10 Kethral ships at once and win." In another part of the shipyard, weapons designer Lim Su worked on new weapons. She was young, but very smart. Before the war, she had designed mining tools and farming machines. Now she designed tools for killing. "The problem with the Kethral shields is that they stop energy weapons," she explained to her team. "Lasers cannot get through. Plasma bolts bounce off. So we need something different." Her assistant asked, "What about missiles?" "Regular missiles are too slow. The Kethral ships will destroy them before they hit. But I have a new idea." Lim Su showed them her design. It was a missile unlike anything ever built. Inside the missile was a small amount of antimatter, the most powerful explosive in the universe. "One of these missiles can crack a continent," she said. "The Kethral shields might stop the first few, but not all of them. When even one gets through, their ship will be destroyed completely." Her team looked worried. Antimatter was very dangerous. If something went wrong, the explosion could destroy the shipyard and everyone in it. "Are you sure this is safe?" one of them asked. Lim Su looked at pictures of New Busan on her computer. She saw the melted cities and the poisoned farms. "The Kethral did not worry about safety when they killed our children. Why should we worry about their safety?" On the planet New Sol, Captain Jang Bo was in charge of finding new soldiers. Before the war, very few people wanted to join the military. Most humans preferred peaceful jobs. But after New Busan, everything changed. Lines of people waited outside every military building. Old soldiers who had retired came back to fight. Young people left school to become warriors. Even people who had never touched a weapon wanted to learn how to fight. "I have never seen anything like this," Jang Bo told his assistants. "We have more volunteers than we can train." An old man waited in line. His hair was white and his back was bent, but his eyes were angry and determined. "I want to fight," he told Jang Bo. "Sir, you are too old for combat. Maybe you could help in a factory instead." "My grandson lived on New Busan. He was 7 years old. The aliens killed him while he slept. I may be old, but I can still pull a trigger." Jang Bo looked at the man's records. He had been a soldier 40 years ago. He had fought well in 2 small wars. "Can you still shoot straight?" Jang Bo asked. "Put a target in front of me and find out." A young woman was next in line. She had been a teacher before the war. Now she wanted to learn how to use weapons. "Why do you want to fight?" Jang Bo asked. "Her? I taught children how to read and write. The Kethral burned schools on New Busan. They killed children who just wanted to learn. Someone has to make them pay for that." By the end of the day, Jiang Bo had signed up 3,000 new soldiers. The next day, 4,000 more came. The day after that, 5,000. "How many do we need?" his assistant asked. "All of them," Jiang Bo replied. "This war will not be won by a few brave soldiers. It will be won by all of humanity fighting together." In the deep space beyond Pluto, something amazing was being built. Admiral Seo Bin watched from her command ship as thousands of workers put together the biggest weapon ever made by humans. They called it the Vengeance. It was not really a ship. It was more like a small moon covered with guns. It was so big that small ships could land inside it. It had enough weapons to destroy an entire planet. "How long until it is finished?" Seo Bin asked. 6 more months, replied the chief engineer. "Maybe 5 if we work faster." Work faster. The Kethral might attack another colony before we are ready. The Vengeance would be the heart of the human fleet. All the other ships would protect it while it destroyed the enemy. Nothing like it had ever been built before. Back on Earth, Admiral Choi Min met with the leaders of all human worlds. They talked through computers and hologram machines. Every leader had the same question. "How much will this war cost?" "Everything," Admiral Choi Min answered honestly. "We must spend all our money and use all our resources. Every person must help. Every factory must work for the war." The leader of New Tokyo asked, "What if we cannot afford it?" Admiral Choi Min showed them new pictures from New Busan. These pictures showed things that had not been in the first reports. They showed children's toys melted by alien weapons. They showed hospitals that had been bombed while people were sleeping inside. "Can we afford not to fight?" he asked. The leaders voted. Every single one agreed to give everything they had to the war effort. Money, ships, weapons, soldiers. Humanity would hold nothing back. On the mining world of New Australia, the miners worked harder than ever before. They dug metals from the ground that would become armor for ships. They found rare elements that would power new weapons. Miner Cho Han had worked in the deep tunnels for 15 years. His job was hard and dangerous, but now he worked twice as long every day. "Why are you working so hard?" a younger miner asked him. Cho Han stopped digging and wiped sweat from his face. "My sister lived on New Busan. She had 2 little girls. The aliens killed them all. Every piece of metal I dig up will become part of a ship that will make the aliens pay." The young miner picked up his tools. "Then let's dig faster." In the research labs, scientists worked on new inventions. They found ways to make ships faster and weapons stronger. They discovered how to see through Kethral stealth technology. They learned how to break Kethral codes. Dr. Park Sun had spent her whole life studying peaceful uses for technology. She had invented machines that helped farmers grow more food. Now she invented machines that helped soldiers kill more efficiently. "I never wanted to make weapons," she told her assistant. "But the Kethral have forced us to become warriors. If we must be warriors, then we will be the best warriors in the galaxy." After 1 year of preparation, the human war machine was ready. The shipyards had built 10,000 new warships. The factories had made millions of new weapons. The training. Camps had prepared 5 million new soldiers. Admiral Choi Min stood on the bridge of the flagship Unforgiving. Around him floated the largest fleet in human history. Every ship was new and powerful. Every crew was trained and angry. "The Kethral thought they could murder our people and we would do nothing," he said to his officers. "They thought humans were weak because we prefer peace to war. Today, they will learn that our love of peace makes us even more dangerous in war." Captain Lee Nari, now serving as his second-in-command, looked out at the endless rows of ships. "The fleet is ready, Admiral. All ships report ready for battle." "Then let us begin. Send a message to all ships. We go to war not for conquest, but for justice. We fight not for territory, but for the innocent dead who cannot fight for themselves." The Kethril wanted to teach humanity about fear. Instead, they will learn about human determination. The great fleet turned toward Kethril space. Behind them, Earth grew smaller until it was just another star. Ahead lay the enemy who had made the mistake of awakening humanity's capacity for war. The age of retribution had truly begun. The Terran Retribution fleet moved through space like a storm made of metal and fire. 10,000 ships flew in perfect formation. Each ship was new, powerful, and crewed by humans who remembered New Busan. At the front of the fleet, the flagship, Unforgiving, led the way to war. Admiral Park Hyun stood on the bridge of the Unforgiving. He had been given command of the entire fleet, the largest military force in human history. Around him, his officers watched screens that showed the positions of every ship. The formation was so big that it took hours for light to travel from one end to the other. "How long until we reach Kethril space?" Park Hyun asked. Navigation Officer Kim Young checked his instruments. 18 hours, sir. We will arrive at the border outpost of Kethril Station." "What do we know about this outpost?" "Intelligence." Officer Moon Hee opened her files. "It is a small station with maybe 200 Kethril. They watch for ships entering their space. They probably think they are safe because no one has ever attacked them before." Park Hyun nodded. "They are about to learn that the universe has changed." 18 hours later, the human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Kethril space. Kethril Station floated alone in the darkness, a small metal structure surrounded by nothing but empty space. The Kethril had built their station to watch for single ships or small groups. They had never imagined that anyone would bring 10,000 warships to their border. Communications Officer Lee Jun listened to the alien radio signals. "Sir, they are sending emergency messages back to their homeworlds. They cannot believe what they are seeing." "Let them send messages," Park Hyun said. "I want all the Kethril to know we are coming." The station tried to contact the human fleet. The alien voices sounded scared and confused. "Unknown ships. This is Kethril Station. You are entering Kethril space without permission. Please identify yourselves and state your purpose." Park Hyun took the communication device. When he spoke, his voice was calm but hard as stone. "This is Admiral Park Hyun of the Terran Retribution Fleet. We are here because you murdered the humans of New Busan Colony. We are here for justice." There was silence from the station for several minutes. Then the Kethril tried again. "Admiral, there must be some mistake. The Kethril hegemony has no conflict with humanity. We can discuss this peacefully. You had your chance for peace. You chose war when you killed our children." The Kethril commander's voice became desperate. "Please, Admiral, we can negotiate. We can pay compensation for any damages. There is no need for violence." Captain Ryu Jin commanded one of the destroyer squadrons. He listened to the alien pleading and felt sick. "Sir, they sound like they do not even remember what they did to New Busan." "They remember," Park Hyun said. "They just thought we would forget." The human fleet moved closer to the station. The Kethril activated their shields and weapons, but everyone knew it was hopeless. The station had weapons designed to fight single ships, not a whole fleet. "Admiral," the alien commander said, "we surrender. Please do not attack. We surrender completely. Park Hyun looked at the pictures of New Busan that were displayed on his wall. He saw the melted cities and the poisoned farms. He thought about all the families who had been sleeping peacefully when the Kethral came to murder them. "Tell me," he said to the alien, "when you attacked New Busan, did you accept their surrender?" I do not understand." "The families on New Busan, the children in their beds, the farmers in their fields, did they have a chance to surrender before you killed them?" The alien was quiet. "No," Park Hyun continued. "You gave them no chance. You showed them no mercy. Today, you learn what it feels like. The destroyer Relentless, commanded by Captain Ryu Jin, fired a single missile. The missile was one of the new antimatter weapons designed by Lim Su. When it hit the station, there was a flash of light brighter than a star. When the light faded, nothing remained of Kethval Station except scattered atoms. "First blood to humanity," said Captain Ryu Jin quietly. The fleet moved deeper into Kethral space. They passed empty worlds and asteroid fields. The Kethral had built their empire far from other species. They liked to be alone so they could attack weak colonies without anyone noticing. "Sir, we are detecting Kethral ships ahead," reported Sensor Officer Cho Min. 3 patrol fleets, about 50 ships total." "Are they coming to fight us?" Park Hyun asked. "No, sir. They are running away as fast as they can. Battle Group Omega, led by Commodore Nam Ki, chased down the fleeing Kethral ships. The human vessels were newer and faster. The Kethral ships could not escape. This is Commodore Nam Ki to all Kethral vessels. Stop your ships and prepare to be destroyed." The lead Kethral ship responded, "Commodore, we are not military vessels. We are just patrol ships. We have done nothing to harm humans. You belong to the species that murdered New Busan. That is enough." The battle was over quickly. The Kethral ships had shields and energy weapons, but they were not prepared for human antimatter missiles. Each missile that hit a Kethral ship destroyed it completely. In 6 minutes, all 50 enemy ships were gone. "Commodore Nam Ki reporting," came the voice over the fleet radio. "All enemy ships destroyed. No human casualties." Admiral Park Hyun felt grim satisfaction. "Signal all ships. We advance to the next system." The human fleet jumped through space again. Each time they arrived at a new star system, they found Kethral colonies and outposts. Each time they destroyed everything military and left the civilian areas alone. The Kethral tried many different things to stop the human advance. They set up ambushes, but human sensors detected them first. They tried to negotiate, but humans would not listen. They begged for mercy, but humans remembered New Busan. After a week of fighting, the Kethral had lost 200 ships and 12 military bases. The humans had lost nothing. Intelligence Officer Moon Hee brought new information to Admiral Park Hyun. "Sir, we are intercepting Kethral communications. They are calling for help from other alien species." "What kind of help?" "They want other species to join them in fighting us. They say humans have become too dangerous and must be stopped." "Are any species responding?" Moon Hee checked her files. "No, sir. It seems no one wants to help the Kethral. Many species have been attacked by them before. They are happy to see the Kethral getting punished. This was good news. Park Hyun had worried that other aliens might join the war against humanity. Instead, the galaxy seemed content to watch the Kethral face justice alone. "Sir," reported Communications Officer Lee Jun, "we are receiving a message from the Kethral High Command. They want to speak with you directly." Put them through. The screen showed a Kethrol leader. The alien looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and black eyes. Its voice was translated by computer. Admiral Park Hyun, I am Supreme Commander. Thektar of the Kethrol military. I wish to discuss terms for ending this conflict. There are no terms, Park Hyun replied. There is only justice. Admiral, surely we can reach some agreement. The Kethrol are willing to pay compensation for New Busan. We can give you territory, resources, technology. What you can give us is your complete surrender. All Kethrol military forces will be destroyed. All Kethrol weapons will be taken away. Your species will never again have the ability to hurt innocent people. The alien commander looked shocked. You cannot be serious. You want to destroy our entire civilization? No, I want to destroy your ability to destroy other civilizations. The Kethrol can continue to exist, but not as a threat to anyone. This is unreasonable. We are a proud and ancient people. We will not submit to such terms. Park Hyun leaned forward in his chair. Then you will be destroyed. The choice is yours. The alien cut off the communication. Captain Lee Nari looked at the blank screen. Do you think they will surrender, sir? No. Pride is their weakness. They would rather die fighting than admit they were wrong. Then we will have to kill them all? Park Hyun thought about this. He did not enjoy the idea of destroying an entire species. But the Kethrol had shown no mercy to the humans of New Busan. They had killed families, children, innocent people who never harmed anyone. If they force us to, yes. But I hope they choose surrender before it comes to that. The human fleet continued. Its advance through Kethrol space. Behind them lay the wreckage of enemy ships and bases. Ahead lay more targets and the eventual confrontation with the main Kethrol fleet. Admiral Park Hyun stood at his window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere among those stars was the Kethrol homeworld. Soon the human fleet would arrive there. The aliens would have to make their final choice, surrender or die. The hunt has only just begun, he said to himself. But already, the hunters have become the hunted. High Overlord Vexathul sat in the command center of the Kethrol homeworld. He was old even for his species, with scars covering his thick shell. For 60 years he had led the Kethrol military. He had conquered 12 worlds and destroyed 6 different species. Nothing had ever challenged his power. Now, for the first time in his long life, he was afraid. The holographic display showed the human fleet moving through Kethrol space like a disease. Red marks indicated destroyed bases and ships. Every day, more red marks appeared. The humans were not just winning, they were winning easily. How many ships have we lost? Vexthul asked his aide. War leader Kexnil checked the reports. 300 ships, my lord. 15 bases. 4 colonies have been evacuated. And how many human ships have we destroyed? Kexnil looked uncomfortable. None, my lord. Vexthul turned his 4 eyes toward his aide. Each eye burned with anger. None. How is that possible? Their weapons are unlike anything we have seen before. Our shields cannot stop their missiles. When their weapons hit our ships, the ships are completely destroyed. What about our superior technology? Our advanced shields? Useless against human antimatter weapons, my lord. Vexthul had built his empire on the belief that Kethrol technology was the best in the galaxy. They had better shields, faster ships, and more powerful weapons than anyone else. How could primitive humans defeat such advantages so easily? Intelligence Officer Ko-un entered the command center. She was young for a Kethrall, but very smart. Her job was to watch other species and learn their secrets. "My lord, I have been studying human communications," she said. "I think I understand why they are so angry. Tell me." Ko-Yoon activated a holographic display. It showed pictures of New Busan before and after the attack. The humans are not fighting for territory or resources. They are fighting for revenge. Revenge for what? "We only destroyed one small colony." "That colony had 2.5 million humans, my lord. Many of them were families with children. The humans seem to care very deeply about their young." Vex Thul made a sound like clicking metal. This was how Kethrall laughed. "Caring about the weak makes them weak. This is why we will defeat them." "My lord, I do not think they are weak. They have built the largest fleet in their history in just 1 year. Every human world is supporting this war. Their entire species is united against us." United by emotion. Emotion makes people do stupid things. Ko-Yoon showed more pictures on the display. "These are images of human shipyards, my lord. They have converted their entire civilization into a war machine. Every factory makes weapons. Every shipyard builds warships. They are not acting emotionally. They are acting with perfect planning and determination." War leader Kexneal stepped forward. "My lord, perhaps we should consider negotiating with them. We could offer them compensation for the destroyed colony." Vex Thul's shell darkened with rage. "The Kethrall do not negotiate with inferior species. We are the masters of this part of space. If the humans want war, we will give them war. But, my lord, their fleet has 10,000 ships. Our main fleet has only 3,000. Numbers do not matter when we have better technology." Ko-Yoon looked at her reports again. "My lord, I am not sure our technology is better. The human ships are very new and very advanced. Their weapons can destroy our ships with single hits. Then we will use our greatest advantage. Summon all fleet commanders. To the Nexus of Corvallis, we will make our stand there." The Nexus of Corvallis was the most heavily defended position in Kethrall space. It was a star system with 3 planets and thousands of defense platforms. At the center of the system floated Destroyer's Maw, a moon-sized battle station with enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. All the remaining Kethrall ships gathered at Corvallis. 3,000 vessels formed defensive lines around the battle station. Thousands of mines were scattered through space. Energy fields blocked all the jump points where enemy ships might appear. Admiral Zekthan commanded the Kethrall fleet. He was younger than Vex Thul, but just as proud. He had never lost a battle in 20 years of warfare. "The humans will have to come through this system to reach our homeworld," he told his officers. "When they arrive, we will destroy them all." "Sir, what if their antimatter weapons can penetrate our shields?" asked one of his captains. "Impossible. Destroyer's Maw has shields stronger than any ship. Even if their weapons work against small vessels, they cannot possibly damage a battle station." The Kethrall waited for 3 days. Their sensors watched all approaches to the system. Their weapons were charged and ready. Their ships were positioned for maximum defensive advantage. On the 3rd day, the humans arrived. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Corvallis system. 10,000 ships appeared in perfect formation, with the massive flagship Unforgiving at their head. Admiral Zekthan looked at his tactical display and felt his confidence begin to crack. The human fleet was bigger than he had expected. Much bigger. "Count the enemy ships," he ordered. 10,047 vessels, sir, including what appears to be a battle station of their own. Zekthan looked more carefully at the human formation. At the center of their fleet was something enormous, an artificial moon covered with weapons. It was bigger than Destroyer's maw and looked much more dangerous. "What is that thing?" he whispered. His aide checked the sensor readings. "It appears to be a mobile battle station, sir. We are detecting massive energy signatures from thousands of weapon systems. The humans called their weapon the Vengeance, and it was everything Admiral Seo Bin had promised. The size of a small moon, it carried enough firepower to destroy entire planets. It had taken the full resources of human space to build, but now it was ready for war." Admiral Park Hyun sent a message to the Kethral fleet. "This is Admiral Park Hyun of the Terran Retribution Fleet. You are in our way. Surrender now or be destroyed." Admiral Zekthon responded, "This is Admiral Zekthon of the Kethral Defense Fleet. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now, and we will consider allowing some of your people to live." "You still do not understand," Park Hyun replied. "We did not come here to surrender. We came here to end your ability to murder innocent people. Last chance, surrender or die." Never. The Battle of Korvali began with the humans firing first, but they did not attack the Kethral ships. Instead, they targeted the defensive mines and energy fields that blocked the system. Antimatter missiles streaked through space, each one brighter than a star. Where they hit the Kethral defenses, massive explosions cleared paths through the minefield. The energy barriers flickered and died as their generators were destroyed. "Sir, they are clearing the defenses," reported a Kethral officer. "Let them come," Admiral Zekthon said. "When they get close enough, we will destroy them all." The human fleet advanced in 3 groups. The first group was made up of fast destroyers and cruisers. The second group contained the heavy battleships and dreadnoughts. The third group protected the Vengeance as it moved slowly toward the center of the system. The Kethral opened fire when the human ships came within range. Energy beams and plasma bolts filled space with deadly light. Some of the beams hit human ships, but the human shields held. The humans had learned from studying captured Kethral weapons, and their new defenses could withstand most Kethral attacks. Then the humans returned fire. The first wave of antimatter missiles hit the outer line of Kethral ships. Each missile that connected destroyed its target completely. Ships that had seemed powerful and invincible vanished in flashes of pure energy. "Impossible!" Admiral Zekthon shouted. "Our shield should stop those weapons." "Sir, their weapons are too powerful. Nothing can stop antimatter when it touches matter." More missiles flew through space. The Kethral ships tried to shoot them down, but there were too many missiles, and they moved too fast. One by one, the outer defensive line began to collapse. "Fall back to the second line," Admiral Zekthon ordered. "Destroyer's maw will protect us." The great battle station opened fire with its main weapons. Beams of energy larger than city blocks reached out toward the human fleet. Several human ships were hit and destroyed, but more ships moved forward to take their place. Then the Vengeance came within range. The human battle station was twice the size of Destroyer's maw and carried 3 times as many weapons. When it opened fire, space itself seemed to burn. Thousands of antimatter missiles launched at once. Energy beams that could melt asteroids reached across space. The concentrated firepower of human civilization focused on the Kethral battle station like the fist of an angry god. Destroyer's maw had shields that could stop normal weapons. It had armor that could survive almost any attack. But it had never faced anything like the Vengeance. The first antimatter missiles broke through the outer shields. The next wave penetrated the armor. The third wave reached the core of the station. The explosion could be seen from the edge of the star system. Destroyer's maw, the greatest weapon in Kethral space, died in a ball of fire that briefly outshone the system's sun. Admiral Zekthon watched his greatest weapon die and knew the battle was lost. Half his fleet was destroyed. The other half was scattered and running. The humans had accomplished in 18 minutes what he had thought was impossible. "Sir, we must retreat," his aide urged. "No. We are Kethral. We do not run far." High Overlord Vexthul received the news of Corvalli's destruction while eating his evening meal. The messenger, a young communications officer named Reltic, trembled as he delivered the report. "My lord, Admiral Zekthon sends word that the nexus of Corvalli has fallen. Destroyer's maw is destroyed. The human fleet advances toward the core worlds." Vexthul set down his food and stared at the messenger. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he asked, "How many of our ships escaped?" "Perhaps 300, my lord. The rest were destroyed or captured." "And the humans? How many ships did they lose?" Relatic's voice became even quieter. 47 ships, my lord." Vexthul stood up so quickly that his chair fell over. 47? They destroyed our greatest battle station and 3,000 ships and lost only 47 vessels? "Yes, my lord." For the first time in his long life, Vexthul felt true fear. The humans were not just winning, they were destroying the Kethral military with ease. This was not war as he understood it. This was extermination. "Send messages to all the other alien species," he ordered. "Tell them the humans have become a threat to everyone. Ask for their help. My lord, we have already sent such messages. No one will help us." "What do you mean, no one?" Intelligence Officer Ko Yun entered the room. She carried data tablets filled with information. "My lord, I have been monitoring communications from other species. They are not willing to fight. The humans, why not? Do they not see the danger?" "They see the danger to us, my lord. But they remember that we have attacked many of them before. The Veltari remember when we destroyed their mining colonies. The Quintel remember when we enslaved their merchant fleets. The humans are doing to us what we have done to others." Vexthul clicked his mandibles in frustration. "Those were different. We were bringing order to the galaxy." "The other species do not see it that way, my lord. To them, we are finally receiving justice for our crimes." "Crimes? We are the Kethral. We are superior beings. It is our right to rule over lesser species." Ko Yun looked at her lord with something like pity. "The humans do not agree, my lord, and right now they have the bigger guns." Meanwhile, the human fleet continued its advance through Kethral space. Admiral Park Hyun stood on the bridge of the Unforgiving, watching star systems fall one by one. Each system contained Kethral colonies, military bases, and industrial facilities. Each system was defended by whatever ships the Kethral could gather. It made no difference. The human fleet was too powerful and too determined. "Sir, we are approaching the Talvek system," reported Navigation Officer Kim Young. "Our scouts report significant Kethral forces defending the system." "How many ships?" "About 500, sir. They appear to be protecting industrial facilities that build weapons and ships." Admiral Park Hyun considered this information. The Talvek system was important to the Kethral war effort. If it was destroyed, the aliens would have even fewer resources to fight with. "Signal the fleet. We will attack in 3 waves. First wave destroys the outer defenses. Second wave eliminates the shipyards. Third wave takes out anything that remains. The attack on Talvek followed the same pattern, as all previous battles. The Kethrall defenders fought bravely but uselessly. Their energy weapons could not penetrate improved human shields. Their missiles were too slow to catch human ships. Their tactics were designed to fight enemies with similar technology, not enemies with overwhelming advantages. Admiral Quan Young commanded the first attack wave. Her ships moved through the Kethrall formation like sharks through a school of fish. Every shot from human weapons destroyed a Kethrall vessel. Every Kethrall shot that hit human shields was absorbed harmlessly. "This is too easy," she said to her tactical officer. "They cannot hurt us, but we can destroy them with single shots." "Should we offer them a chance to surrender, Admiral?" Quan Young thought about New Busan. She thought about children sleeping peacefully in their beds while Kethrall weapons burned their homes around them. "No," she said. "They had their chance for mercy when they chose not to give mercy to others." The battle lasted 2 hours. When it was over, every Kethrall ship was destroyed. The shipyards that had built vessels for conquest were turned into clouds of superheated gas. The weapons factories that had armed the Kethrall military were reduced to atomic particles. "Talvek system secured," Admiral Quan Young reported. "All military targets destroyed. Industrial capacity eliminated. The pattern repeated in system after system. The humans advanced, the Kethrall resisted, and the Kethrall were destroyed. With each victory, the human fleet grew more confident and more efficient. They had learned how to fight Kethrall ships, and the knowledge made them nearly unstoppable. General Anju commanded the ground forces that landed on captured Kethrall worlds. Her job was not to conquer territory, but to ensure that the Kethrall could never again threaten innocent people. Her soldiers destroyed weapons factories, military training centers, and government buildings. On the world of Kethmanur, General Anju walked through a city that had once been a center of military power. Her soldiers had systematically dismantled every structure related to warfare. Now, Kethrall civilians wandered through the ruins, trying to understand what had happened to their world. A Kethrall official approached her. His name was Tekvar, and he had once been an important leader in the planetary government. "General, please," Tekvar begged. "We understand that you are angry about the colony your people lost, but this destruction serves no purpose. We surrender, completely. We will do whatever you ask." General Anju looked at the alien with cold eyes. "What you will do is learn to live without the ability to hurt others. Your military is gone. Your weapons are destroyed. Your children will grow up knowing that violence has consequences. But, General, we need some defenses. What if other species attack us? Then you will ask the humans for help. We protect those who choose peace." Tekvar looked confused. "You would protect us? Even after we attacked you?" "We would protect your civilians, yes. But your military will never exist again. That is the price of what you did to New Busan." The human fleet finally reached the edge of the Kethrall home system. 5 planets orbited a yellow star much like Earth's sun. The largest planet, Kethrall Prime, was home to 3 billion aliens. It was the center of their government, their military, and their culture. It was also defended by everything the Kethrall had left. Admiral Park Hyun studied the tactical display showing the Kethrall home system. The aliens had gathered every remaining ship around their home world. Defense platforms covered the space around the planet like a metal shell. Energy fields and weapon satellites created overlapping zones of protection. "How many ships are defending the planet?" he asked. "Approximately 800, sir," reported Intelligence Officer Moon Hee. plus several thousand defense platforms and weapon satellites. "It is everything they have left," said Captain Lee Nari. "Yes, this will be their final stand, Admiral." Park Hyun opened a communication channel to the Kethral homeworld. "This is Admiral Park Hyun of the Terran Retribution Fleet. We have come for justice. Surrender now and your people will be spared. Continue to resist and your military will be destroyed completely." The response came from High Overlord Vexthul himself. "Admiral, I am the leader of the Kethral people. We are an ancient and proud race. We will not bow to inferior beings. Your pride killed the innocent people of New Busan. Your pride has destroyed your fleet and your colonies. How much more will you sacrifice to pride? The Kethral do not surrender. We will fight to the last ship and the last soldier. Then you will die to the last ship and the last soldier. But your civilians do not have to die with you. Evacuate all non-military personnel from the defense platforms." "Why would you care about our civilians? We showed no mercy to yours." Admiral Park Hyun was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was hard but sad. "Because we are not you. We do not kill innocent people. That is why we are here, to stop those who do." The communication ended. Admiral Park Hyun turned to his officers. "Signal the fleet. We attack in 1 hour. All ships are to avoid civilian targets. We are here to destroy their military, not to become like them." Colonel Shin Ho commanded the Marine forces that would land on the planet after the space battle. He had fought on a dozen worlds, but never in a battle this important. "Sir," one of his officers asked, "what are our orders for the planet?" "We secure all government buildings and military installations. We arrest all military leaders and political officials responsible for the attack on New Busan. We protect all civilians and ensure they have food, water, and medical care." "What about resistance from the civilian population?" Colonel Shin Ho thought about this. "Most of them probably do not even know why we are here. When they learn that their leaders started this war by murdering human families, many of them will understand that justice has come to their world." The hour passed quickly. At exactly the appointed time, the human fleet advanced toward Kethral Prime. 10,000 ships moved in perfect formation, with the massive Vengeance at their center. Behind them, transport ships carried the ground forces that would occupy the planet. The Kethral opened fire when the humans came within range. Space filled with energy beams, plasma bolts, and nuclear missiles. The defensive fire was intense and desperate. 3 days after the fall of Kethral Prime, the ruins of the alien capital city witnessed something that had never happened before in galactic history. High Admiral Choi Min, Supreme Commander of all human forces, walked through streets filled with the debris of war. Behind him came a small group of officers and officials who would decide the fate of an entire species. The Kethral government building had been damaged in the fighting, but it still stood. Human engineers had repaired the basic systems so that the building could be used for the most important trial in galactic history. Inside the Great Hall, where Kethral leaders had once planned the conquest of other worlds, they would now answer for their crimes. War Crimes prosecutor Lee Dong carried with him files containing evidence of Kethral atrocities spanning nearly a century. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. For 30 years, she had worked to bring justice to those who committed crimes against innocent people. She had never handled a case this important. "Are you ready?" Admiral Choi Min asked her. "Yes, sir." "The evidence is overwhelming. The Kethral have systematically destroyed 17 different species over the past 80 years. New Busan was just their most recent crime." 17 species? I thought it was just us and a few others. No, sir. They have been conducting a campaign of genocide for decades. They target species that are weak or isolated. They destroy entire worlds and then claim the territory for themselves. Admiral Choi Min felt sick. He had known the Kethral were murderers, but this was worse than he had imagined. How many people have they killed? Approximately 2 billion sentient beings, sir. Men, women, children from 17 different species. Some of the species no longer exist at all. The Great Hall had been prepared for the trial. Tables were arranged for the judges, the prosecutors, and the defendants. Cameras would record everything so that the entire galaxy could see justice being done. Translators were ready to convert the proceedings into hundreds of different languages. High Overlord Vexthul entered the hall in chains. The once proud leader of the Kethral military now looked old and broken. Behind him came the other Kethral leaders who had planned and carried out attacks on innocent worlds. Intelligence Officer Ko Yoon was among the defendants, but she looked different from the others. While her fellow Kethral seemed angry or afraid, she appeared ashamed. She had seen the evidence of her people's crimes and understood the magnitude of what they had done. Admiral Choi Min took his place at the judges' table. With him sat Fleet Admiral Park Hyun, General Yoon Hai, and representatives from several alien species whose people had been murdered by the Kethral. This tribunal is now in session, Admiral Choi Min announced. We are here to determine justice for crimes committed against innocent beings throughout the galaxy. The defendants will have full legal representation and the right to present evidence in their defense. War Crimes Prosecutor Lee Dong stood up. Your Honors, I will present evidence that the defendants systematically planned and executed the murder of entire species. They did not kill soldiers in battle. They killed civilians who could not defend themselves. She activated a holographic display that showed pictures from New Busan. The burned cities and poisoned farms appeared in the air above the courtroom. Several of the alien observers made sounds of disgust and horror. This is what the defendants did to New Busan colony, Lee Dong said. 2.5 million innocent humans burned to death or poisoned by Kethral weapons. But this was not their first such crime. The display changed to show other worlds, dead cities on alien planets, poisoned oceans under foreign skies. The remains of species that no longer existed anywhere in the galaxy. The Veltari homeworld, Lee Dong continued. Population, 400 million. Destroyed by Kethral weapons 15 years ago. Crime. The Veltari refused to sell their mining rights to Kethral corporations. The display showed more horrors. The Quintel colonies. Population, 60 million. Destroyed 8 years ago. Crime. The Quintel discovered Kethral ships attacking merchant vessels. On and on the evidence continued. World after world. Species after species. Innocent people. Murdered because they were inconvenient to Kethral expansion. High Overlord Vexthul finally stood up. This is all lies. We are warriors. We fight to bring order to the galaxy. Order? Admiral Choi Min asked. You call the murder of children order? We eliminate inferior species that stand in the way of progress. This is natural law. The strong rule over the weak. War Crimes Prosecutor Lee Dong showed more pictures. Were these Veltari children standing in the way of progress? The pictures showed playgrounds melted by Kethral weapons. Were these Quintel hospitals a threat to your empire? Vexthul sat down. He had no answer. The defense attorney, a human lawyer named Kim Soo, who had volunteered to represent the Kethral, stood up. Your Honors, my clients acted according to the laws and customs of their own society. They believed they were bringing civilization to primitive worlds. Civilization? General Yunhai asked. Burning children alive is civilization? General, different species have different concepts of right and wrong. The Kethral truly believed they were improving the galaxy. Intelligence Officer Ko Yoon suddenly stood up. No, she said quietly. That is not true. Her defense attorney looked shocked. Ko-un, you do not have to speak. Yes, I do. She turned to face the judges. I was in charge of intelligence about other species. I know the truth about what we did. What truth? Admiral Choi Min asked. We knew the species we attacked were peaceful. We knew they had families and children. We knew they posed no threat to us. We attacked them anyway because we enjoyed destroying the weak. Vexthul tried to silence her. Ko-un, be quiet. You do not know what you are saying. I know exactly what I am saying. I helped plan the attack on New Busan. I chose the targets. I made sure we hit the schools and hospitals first, because I knew it would cause maximum suffering. The courtroom was silent. Even the other Kethral defendants stared at Ko Yoon in shock. Why are you telling us this? Admiral Choi Min asked. Because I have seen what humans do when they are angry. You could have destroyed every Kethral in the galaxy. You could have done to us what we did to others. Instead, you are giving us a trial. You are trying to be just. She turned to look at Vexthul. We are not warriors. We are murderers, and we deserve whatever punishment these humans decide to give us. The trial continued for 3 more days. Evidence was presented. Witnesses testified. The Kethral leaders were given every opportunity to defend themselves, but the evidence was overwhelming. The Kethral had committed genocide against 17 different species. They had killed billions of innocent people for no reason except cruelty. On the final day, Admiral Choi Min delivered the verdict. The defendants are guilty of genocide, murder, and crimes against sentient life. The evidence shows a pattern of deliberate cruelty spanning nearly a century. What is our sentence? Vexthul asked. Admiral Choi Min looked at the broken alien leader. The Kethral species will be relocated to a single world under permanent human supervision. All Kethral weapons will be destroyed. All Kethral military technology will be confiscated. The Kethral will never again have the ability to harm other species. You are making us prisoners on our own world? No. You are being given a chance to learn how to live without murdering others. Your children will be educated in schools run by humans and other species. They will learn the value of life that you have forgotten. Vexthul was quiet for a moment. And if we refuse this sentence, then you will be destroyed completely. The choice is yours. Ko Yoon spoke up again. We accept the sentence. It is more mercy than we deserve. The other Kethral leaders nodded agreement. They had seen what human weapons could do. They knew they had no choice but to accept whatever terms were offered. Ambassador Choi Hyo stepped forward. She had been chosen to address the representatives of alien species who had come to witness the trial. Let this be remembered across the galaxy, she said. Humanity does not seek conquest. We do not want to rule over other species. But we will not allow innocents to be murdered. We will not permit genocide. We will not tolerate those who prey upon the weak. A representative of the Veltari stepped forward. His people had been nearly extinct before the humans arrived. What you have done here gives hope to all peaceful species. You have shown that evil does not always win. Evil wins when good people do nothing, Ambassador Choi Yo replied. The galaxy is vast and full of dangers, but from now on, those who choose peace will have protectors. Those who choose war will face justice. The trial ended with the Kethral leaders being taken away to begin their life sentences. They would spend the rest of their lives working to repair the damage they had caused. Their world would be rebuilt as a place of peace instead of a center of conquest. Intelligence Officer Ko-un was treated differently from. 5 years had passed since the destruction of New Busan Colony. The galaxy was a different place now. Where once fear had ruled the weak and evil had gone unpunished, now justice watched over all peaceful beings. Fleet Admiral Park Hyun stood on the observation deck of the massive space station Guardian. The station orbited the former Kethral homeworld, now called Redemption. Below him, the planet that had once been the center of a genocidal empire was becoming something new, a world where former enemies learned to live in peace. The Guardian was the largest space station ever built. It served as headquarters for the Terran Peacekeeping Force, a fleet of human ships that patrolled the galaxy to protect innocent species from those who would harm them. Ships from a dozen different alien species served alongside human vessels, all united in the cause of peace. "Admiral, we have a report from the Outer Rim," said Captain Lee Nari, who now served as his second-in-command. "A species called the Zorthak attempted to attack a colony of peaceful farmers. Our patrol ships stopped them. Any casualties among the farmers?" "None, sir. The Zorthak ships surrendered as soon as they saw our vessels approaching." Park Han nodded with satisfaction. This was how things worked now in the galaxy. Word had spread about what happened to species that attacked innocents. The memory of the destroyed Kethral Empire served as a warning to anyone who might consider following their path. "What about the Zorthak ships?" "We arrested their crews and sent them for trial on their homeworld. Their own government was very embarrassed. They promise it will not happen again." This was another change the humans had brought to the galaxy. Instead of responding to attacks with more attacks, they worked with alien governments to solve problems peacefully. Most species preferred this to the old way of constant warfare. Cultural attaché Jang Mi entered the observation deck. She was young and energetic, with a gift for understanding different alien cultures. Her job was to help former enemies learn to live together. "Admiral, I have news from the surface," she said. "The first class of Kethral children has graduated from the new schools. How are they doing?" "Very well, sir. They have learned about the history of their people's crimes, but also about the possibility of redemption. Many of them want to join the peacekeeping force when they are old enough. This was perhaps the most remarkable change of all. The children of the species that had once been humanity's greatest enemy now wanted to serve alongside humans to protect innocent people throughout the galaxy. What about the older Kethral, the ones who lived through the war? They call themselves the Penitent. "Now," Jang Mi replied. "They spend their time working to repair the damage their empire caused. They have sent volunteer workers to help rebuild the worlds their military destroyed." Park Hyun walked to the large window that looked down at the planet. He could see cities being rebuilt with new architecture that emphasized beauty instead of military power. Parks and schools had replaced weapons factories and military training centers. "Any word from Ko-Yoon?" he asked. "Yes, sir. She sends regular reports about the education programs. The young Kethral are eager to learn about other species and other cultures. She says many of them are ashamed of what their ancestors did and want to make up for it." Ko-Yoon had become one of the most important figures on Redemption. The former intelligence officer now ran schools where young Kethrall learned about the value of life and the importance of protecting the innocent. Her work was helping to create a generation that would never repeat the mistakes of their parents. Director of Galactic Affairs, Yu Sam, arrived on the observation deck. He was a serious man who managed relationships between humans and the dozens of alien species that now look to Earth for protection and guidance. "Admiral, I have the monthly report on galactic peace," he said. "No acts of genocide have been attempted anywhere in human-protected space. 7 different conflicts between alien species have been resolved through negotiation instead of warfare. Any species still refusing to accept human peacekeeping?" "Only 3 minor species on the far edge of the galaxy. They claim they do not need protection from anyone. But they have also not attacked anyone, so we leave them alone." This was another principle the humans had established. They did not force peace on anyone who did not want it. But they made it clear that those who chose war would face consequences. A young officer approached the group. "Admiral, there is someone here to see you. She says it is important." The officer led them to a meeting room where a Kethrall female waited. She was one of the penitent generation, old enough to remember the war but young enough to embrace change. Her name was Sylvana, and she had once been a communications officer in the Kethrall military. "Admiral Park Hyun," she said, bowing in the human manner. "I bring news from the reconstruction teams working on former Kethrall colonies." "What news?" "We have found something disturbing on the world of Kethmanor, evidence of another species that was destroyed by our empire. A species we had forgotten about." Park Hyun felt a familiar anger stirring in his chest. "Tell me." "They were called the Lumtari, a peaceful species of artists and musicians. Our forces destroyed them 30 years ago because their homeworld contained valuable minerals. We killed them all and took their planet." "All of them?" "We thought so. But the reconstruction teams found hidden shelters. There are survivors, about 2,000 Lumtari who managed to hide during the attack. They have been living underground for 30 years, afraid to come to the surface." This was both heartbreaking and hopeful news. Another species had been saved from complete extinction, but they had suffered terribly for decades. "Are they willing to speak with us?" Park Hyun asked. "Yes, sir. They have heard about what happened to the Kethrall Empire. They know that justice has come to the galaxy. They want to rebuild their civilization." "What do they need?" "Everything, sir. Food, medicine, technology, protection. They have been living like refugees in their own world for 30 years. Park Hyun turned to his officers. "Captain Lee Nari, prepare a relief expedition. Medical supplies, food, construction equipment, everything they need to rebuild their world." "Yes, sir." "Jang Mi, I want you to go with the expedition. Help them reconnect with the galaxy. They have been isolated for too long." "I will do my best, sir." Sylvana looked surprised. "Admiral, you would do all this for a species you have never met?" "We do it because it is right. The Lumtari suffered because evil went unpunished for too long. Now that justice rules the galaxy, it is our duty to help them recover. But, sir, it will cost much money and many resources." Park Hyun looked at the former Kethrall officer. "Sylvana, do you understand why humans fight? To protect the innocent, sir?" "Yes. And the Lumtari are innocent. They suffered because your people chose cruelty over compassion. Now my people choose compassion over convenience." That evening, Park Hyun stood again at the observation window. Below him, the lights of redemption twinkled in the darkness. Human and Kethrall children played together in the parks. Former enemies worked side by side to build a better future. Captain Lee Nari joined him. "Sir, do you ever wonder if we did the right thing? We could have destroyed the Kethral completely. Some people think we should have." "Do you think we should have?" She was quiet for a moment. "No, sir. I think what we did was harder, but better. Revenge would have been easy. Justice was difficult. The children down there will grow up in a galaxy where genocide is impossible," Park Hyun said. "Human and alien children will learn together that all life has value. That is worth more than any revenge. The Kethral are not the same species they were 5 years ago. No, they chose to become better, and we chose to let them." A communication signal arrived from Earth. Admiral Choi Min appeared on the holographic display. Even though he was thousands of light years away, he looked tired but satisfied. "Park Hyun, I have news from the Galactic Council," he said. 47 different species have signed the peace accord. They agree to accept human peacekeeping and to resolve conflicts through negotiation instead of warfare. Any holdouts? A few minor species, but they are not causing problems. The important thing is that the major powers have all agreed. The age of galactic warfare is ending. What about Earth? How are our people handling their new role as peacekeepers? Better than I expected. The children who were born after Nu, Busan, are growing up believing that protecting others is humanity's greatest purpose. They want to join the peacekeeping force and explore the galaxy. This was perhaps the most important change of all. A new generation of humans was growing up, with the understanding that their species' role in the galaxy was not to conquer, but to protect. They saw themselves not as rulers, but as guardians. "Sir," Park Hyun said, "sometimes I look at what we have built and wonder if the people of New Busan would approve." Admiral Choi Min was quiet for a moment. "I think they would. We honored their memory not with more death, but with justice. We made sure their children's children will live in a galaxy where such crimes are impossible." The communication ended. Park Hyun remained at the window, looking down at the peaceful world below. In the distance, he could see the lights of ships from the peacekeeping force patrolling the system. Human vessels flew alongside ships from a dozen alien species, all working together to maintain the peace. A small shuttle,